Volcanoes are unpredictable and can erupt without warning. But what would happen if they all erupted at once? How would it affect our world? Let's find out in today's video. When we talk about volcanoes, we're talking about one of nature's most powerful forces. Hot molten rock called magma bursts through the Earth's crust and causes some serious damage. These explosions can be so big that they change the landscape forever. Just think about the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD, which buried the Roman city of Pompeii under tons of ash and pumice. The eruption of Krakatoa in 1883 is another example of such an event. Its explosion was heard 2,000 miles away. And when its tsunami hit the coast of Java and Sumatra, it killed more than 36,000 people. But these eruptions are like small fries compared to what could happen if all active volcanoes erupted simultaneously. First off, let's take a look at how many volcanoes we're dealing with here. According to the Smithsonian Institution's database, there are more than 1,500 potentially active volcanoes around the world. That means they've had at least one eruption in the last 10,000 years. So if all of these volcanoes erupted at once, the devastation would be catastrophic. It's impossible to predict with absolute certainty what would happen in such a scenario, but scientists have put forward some theories. One thing we can be sure of is that the skies would be filled with ash and smoke. When a volcano erupts, it releases large amounts of gases and fine particles into the atmosphere. These particles reflect and absorb sunlight, causing global temperatures to drop. In 1991, Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines erupted and ejected an estimated 2 billion cubic feet of ash and gases into the atmosphere. This led to an average global temperature drop of 0.5 degrees Celsius for 2 years. Imagine what would happen if this happened worldwide at the same time. And that's not all. Volcanic eruptions also release sulfur dioxide and other gases that form sulfuric acid aerosols in the stratosphere. These aerosols can stay in the atmosphere for months or even years, blocking sunlight and cooling the planet. The eruption of Mount Pinatubo alone led to a 10% decrease in the amount of sunlight reaching the Earth's surface in the 2 years following the eruption. So if all the volcanoes erupted at once, the resulting volcanic winter could last for several years. But it doesn't stop there. Volcanoes also release carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide is the main culprit behind climate change. So more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere means a warmer planet. However, the warming effect of carbon dioxide only kicks in over a period of several decades. On the other hand, the cooling effect of sulfate aerosols can be seen within months. So the short-term effect of all volcanoes erupting at once would be a rapid global cooling. In the long run, however, the increase in carbon dioxide levels could lead to global warming. But it's hard to say exactly how this would play out because there are so many variables involved. What we can be sure of is that the consequences would be severe. Volcanic eruptions can also cause major disruptions to air travel. When a volcano erupts, it releases ash and gases that can damage aircraft engines and pose a risk to passengers' health. For example, in April 2010, the eruption of Mount Eyjafjallajökull in Iceland sent a plume of ash 10 kilometers into the atmosphere. This caused the UK to shut down its airspace for 6 days, affecting thousands of flights and stranding hundreds of thousands of travelers. Imagine what would happen if this happened worldwide simultaneously. Airplanes rely on engines that are designed to operate in relatively clean air. When they encounter volcanic ash, the abrasive particles can damage the engine's turbine blades, disrupting the flow of air and causing the engine to fail. In 1982, a British Airways Boeing 747-200 was flying over the Mount Galunggung volcano in Indonesia when it encountered an ash cloud. The ash damaged both of the plane's engines, causing them to fail. Thankfully, the pilots were able to restart the engines and land the plane safely. But this was still the first and only time in commercial aviation history that an airline had lost power in both engines due to an ash cloud. So if all the volcanoes erupted at once, air travel would be severely disrupted, causing chaos in the global transportation system. Volcanic eruptions can also cause significant damage to property and infrastructure. When a volcano erupts, it releases lava, ash, and gases that can destroy buildings, roads, and other structures. For example, in 1980, the eruption of Mount St. Helens in Washington state caused an estimated $1.2 billion in damage. That's about $2.7 billion in today's money. The eruption destroyed 250 homes and businesses and caused extensive damage to roads, bridges, and other infrastructure. Imagine what would happen if this happened worldwide simultaneously. Cities located near volcanoes would be completely destroyed by the initial eruption. Even cities further away would suffer from falling ash and disrupted supply chains. The economic impact would be devastating. The agricultural industry would be hit particularly hard since volcanic ash can make soil infertile and kill crops. This would lead to food shortages and higher prices. The fishing industry would also suffer since volcanic ash can poison fish and other marine life. This would lead to job losses and economic hardship in coastal communities. In short, if all the volcanoes on Earth erupted at once, the consequences would be catastrophic. Global temperatures would plummet, leading to a volcanic winter. Air travel would be disrupted, causing chaos in the global transportation system. Property and infrastructure would be severely damaged, leading to massive economic losses, and agricultural and fishing industries would be devastated, leading to food shortages and job losses. But it's important to note that this is just a hypothetical scenario. It's highly unlikely that all volcanoes would erupt simultaneously. Each volcano has its own cycle of eruptions, and there is no evidence that an eruption in one place could trigger eruptions elsewhere. So while it is fun to speculate about what would happen if all the volcanoes did erupt at once, we can rest assured knowing that this is just a highly unlikely scenario. However, that doesn't mean that we should ignore the threat posed by volcanoes. They are a natural part of our planet, and we need to understand and respect their power. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment below with your thoughts. We'd love to hear what you think would happen if all the volcanoes erupted at once. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out on future videos. Thanks for watching.